Hey, yo, you, y'all, what up, what up? We back at it again. We back at it again. Hope y'all doing good. Hope y'all blessed and highly favored. I'm trying my best to be. Let me plug in that headset for y'all. Hey, yo, 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 what up, what up, what up? We back once again. Yeah, but tonight's gonna be a good night. Gonna be me and the top chakra, top podcast, top cast. Hopefully I said his name right. Let me get my let me get him up in the building. I'm all excited, y'all. This gonna be a good one. Hold up, y'all. Hey, what's good, incredible top?
What's good? What's good? How you doing, Ray?
Man, blessed and highly favored, man. Can't complain, can't complain. It's been a long grind out there, but we made it. We made it.
Oh, absolutely. I've been chilling. For some reason or another, I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I'm feeling just a little bit under the weather, but we go get through this, man.
Okay, well, just do the best you can. If by some reason you need to drop off, just let me know.
All right, no doubt.
Yeah. Uh, just to just so people can know more about your channel and subscribe to your channel, feel free to introduce yourself.
Well, I go by the incredible T.O.P. My other alias is Top Chakra, and my other alias is Manny Styles. I'm the host of the Topcast on YouTube. The first season will be premiering starting January 2021. Right now, you can catch the first season of the Topcast on Anchor Podcast. Got 3 more episodes left before we go on to season 2. And you can find me at the Incredible T.O.P. on Instagram.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we're gonna definitely leave the audience with something incredible. Because me and you, we kind of did a little sparring match earlier. Like what a couple of a little earlier today, I think. So just kind of
Mm-hmm.
feeding off ideas. My thing is, and maybe you can just kind of piggyback off that, unless you had something else different you wanted to say initially. Well, just kind of to clarify to everybody the topic of tonight, because kind of like what I told you, the turnout kind of probably going to be a little fickle because people thinking we just going to have equations that we're going to present and different graphs and diagrams and quite the opposite.
Facts.
I think just overall, just to kind of get started, for me, we look at because I was just kind of talking about this just lightly with a few individuals. We see that in nature, to me, nature is geometrical, and
Mm-hmm.
whereas mankind is mathematical. They literally needed the mathematics to understand the geometrics. And I think once mankind was able to figure out the geometrics, they were able to rig certain things, kind of like when we talk about this game and how the game is rigged. But if you look at society, it's been that way. It's what I would call rigged it would be what I would call rigged mathematics.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. A very good analogy for society as a whole is like going to a casino. And if you know anything about gambling, then you know that the house never loses. And it's always
Facts.
because they get a little bit of the cut off the top. So, the house is never going to lose. And you can't rob them because they got security.
Exactly. It's like they already had their numbers rearranged or prearranged per se. So they kind of know who's going to come in and who's going to do what.
Hmm.
They'll let some people get away with winning some things, but for the most part, everybody else,
Hmm.
yeah, not going to have the kind of luck you think you're going to have.
Oh, that even drives the point home even more because if any, people know anything about business, when you put your business plan together, you include all of those kind of things in it. So you include for theft and robbery and the different costs associated with operating.
Facts. And then, like, going from there, you think about the government, how it does things like statistics, the Census Bureau, credit checks, the stock market,
Hmm.
all this that they've tried to rig into what we think is life. That's how you can tell when someone doesn't have on the out of matrix lenses, when they
Hmm.
actually think that this is really life.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, and this is just my own opinion, based on direct observation and extrapolation, most people are quote unquote asleep in the matrix. And
Mm,
what I mean by that is what most people see that they consider to be everyday life is just a facade. So if people really knew how the country, the United States, really went about making its money, then they would be appalled.
I
So it
agree.
actually, to some degree, in order for a society or a civilization to stay in existence for any length of time, some amount of the population have to be either entirely ignorant or willfully ignorant.
Oh yeah, because they basically have in regards to the way the society has come to be, and that's really that's another rabbit hole, because we can say how it once was righteous, then it became unrighteous. But the issue, I think, is how did it become to the point of where one ends up a number with a social security number? How did it get to that point to where, like, they can even count your days if they want to, So um, some people's lives based on society. Now, that's different than divinity and esoteric, but
Mm.
society has its own day. I would believe, when they say your days are numbered, society itself probably has a specific day for a lot of
Hmm.
people, the last day.
Hmm. Well, from what I could gather, just from my little minuscule studies of history, no society has ever lasted forever. And if you know anything about life, what I'm saying, and you'll come to understand that things, happen in cycles. So no society
Yep.
is ever going to last forever, including the one we live in now. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people who are much more intelligent than I am are of the opinion that we are living in a time where we are actually witnessing the collapse of the society we know as the United States.
Facts. And it seems like if we do look at numbers for that, to me, at one point you had societies that lasted about, I think it's on the increments of fives. So you had one society that lasted 5,000 years. You had a few of those types. And now it's to the
Mm.
point on where average, the most recent society was Rome, that lasted 500 years. And this society here is on the crust of 500 years too.
Yeah, well, like the young people say nowadays, we living in a different time. I would imagine that's what I would probably say about people who live, 5, 6, 7,000 years ago. They was living in a different time. They looked at things differently, even though human nature has always been the same throughout history. But as far as like you was mentioning the numbers and whatnot that governs, what we know to be society, like the stock market, for example. If you I have a tendency to think in analogy. So I look at movies like The Matrix, The Terminator, things like that, and I look at it and I notice that it's a natural progression. Even if you look at our own tech industry, the one that produces the computers and the smartphones that we got, it moves along a natural progression. And it's just that over time technology is going to get better and better and better. And so it's going to impact society, in the ways that it's going to impact society because of, the abilities that it affords us. So when I was a
Facts.
kid, I was watching cartoons like the Jetsons, even though, microwaves wasn't even a household thing just yet. You know what I'm saying? So just to give you an idea of, even back when I was a kid, and I'm almost 50, we was looking at what was going to come in the future. And now that future is here now. And what they were showing us then is what's actually happening now.
Facts, facts. And it kind of was more or less like the formula was already set. So I
Mm-hmm.
think like when I see mathematics now and how they were able to manipulate the geometry of nature, you see it,
Mm-hmm.
these numbers. So you see this algorithm similar to the matrix. So I was thinking even further back, look at the hieroglyphics set up the same way, just with symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Well,
you
I
go
mean,
back to like a cuneiform during I forget.
cuneiform.
Yes, yes, yes.
Cuneiform. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all those things really are, is there's symbols that represent ideas. Really,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's the ideas themselves that are important, you know. But yeah, a lot of people they can't read the writing on the wall. And like I said, a lot of people are they like cipher from that movie The Matrix. They willfully ignorant. They know the steak ain't real, even though it tastes juicy and delicious.
Right, right. Oh yeah, that's a good reminder. I am sweet. Yeah, that's right.
And so
Yeah,
and so as a result of that, the people who are in charge of our society or our civilization, they not stupid people. You can't be stupid and be in charge. It
right.
just don't work out like that. So,
Well,
they understand all of these things, where the
yeah,
average person doesn't think that mathematics is important. The people in charge understand how important it really is. I mean,
yeah.
you can't get from the earth to the moon without mathematics.
Facts, facts. And oh yeah, everybody grab your popcorn, your nachos, your hot dogs, and your soda. So I was gonna say, like, just with what you said, like I think one aspect of that spectrum could be, yes, there are those who do know. They're in the know, those enlightened ones. And then you have the other ones that are programmed, whether they're programmed to know some things of the algorithm or they're just programmed to be dumbed down. But everybody's been programmed, all part of that
Mm-hmm,
algorithm. Like even with television, but more
mm-hmm,
or less that's just an algorithm. Like when you I think when before TVs got as advanced as they've gotten, I think like when you break down most of the screens, they all have certain algorithms that determine the pixels of the screen of the TV. A lot of people don't know that they're actually looking at an algorithm.
mm-hmm. A lot of people don't even realize that they televisions, the pixels is actually only made up of three different colors: red, blue,
Mm,
and green. And that the way the electricity coming to your computer depend on how bright or how dim each of those three colors in each pixel, shines to make the picture that you see. So the picture that you
facts,
see ain't really there. It's just
facts,
electrical signals communicated to your brain. So what is
facts.
real?
Facts. Now, I know you say you had a. I think one time before you say you had like a trucking background.
Yeah, yeah.
Ex-
I'm a class A driver.
how would you explain the life of mathematics in that situation? Do you feel like they've kind of have guys out at certain numbers, like they just see you as like a unit number sometimes when you're out there, or a
Well,
route number?
I mean, driving a driving a truck is just like any other type of employment. It's just
Uh-huh.
the particulars of it are different. So a truck driver is essentially the same thing as a cashier. They just specialists at what they do in particular. But
Hmm.
with trucking specifically, uh, I mean, you have to have at least a rudimentary understanding of not just mathematics in the form of arithmetic, but you actually have to have some understanding of physics and how forces and shit work. You know, like for example, momentum.
Yeah,
A fully loaded truck is 80,000 pounds, and going a certain speed is going to have a certain momentum. You understand what I'm saying? So
exactly.
I say that to say that it ties into how you learn how to use the brakes, et
Right.
cetera, or how the truck is going to respond if you get into a situation you can't get out of and you end up having an accident. So you have to understand little things like that. But you know that comes with that's a part of gaining expertise in that particular area, and that's no different for any other type of employment or work.
Facts. Facts. Yeah, I mean, just gonna read a few of these comments because I had something on my mind and it kind of like dissipated, but I know it'll come back. Brandu Life, he said, engineer collapsed by U.S. government. Oh yeah, man, that's a lot of things to think in that regard. Um, then you also mentioned globalists included, and then
Hmm.
let's see what else.
Yeah, salute to everybody in the chat. I can't see the chat, but salute to everybody in the chat. Thanks for coming.
Oh yeah, you probably have to. I don't know. I think on yours you can see the. I don't know if you can click on the comment section on your screen, depending on what device you're using for StreamYard. But yeah, you should be able to see the comment section by clicking on not private chat, but I think comment. I think that's what it says. But yeah,
Okay, yeah, I got it. I see.
okay, cool. But yeah, it kind of brings up another point in regards to damn, I know it's gonna come back to me. Uh but let me see. There was something else I was thinking about. Just overall, like the way mathematics people have used it to control people's behavior. Oh yeah, this reminds me of something. By the way, how much time you looking at? You know, as far as your availability. I know just in regards to what you said earlier, but overall, what's your max availability?
We go ride until the wheels fall off, man. I mean, I'm well past bedtime age.
Okay, cool. My thing is, and this is kind of where I remember what I was saying. You know, in regards to the mathematics aspect, I realized checking out my live streams, just having them for an hour, I get most
Hmm.
people to check them out. You know, so yeah,
Hmm.
that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shoot for an hour. If we go a few more minutes over that, that's cool. But yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna definitely shoot for an hour for sure.
Oh, for sure. I noticed that mathematics isn't everything. It's just
Yeah.
that people have a tendency to ignore it and not really give it the importance that it deserves. And you know, oftentimes to our detriment. You know, like for you could going in the grocery store, for example. You know, mathematics could be used when you go in a grocery store. I learned this from my algebra teacher, who taught me pre-calculus algebra and trig. But this dude, he goes in the grocery store with a calculator so that you know he can figure if he getting the best price for how many ounces he purchases. And a lot of us have a tendency, you know, because we're not really financially literate, disciplined, or budget conscious. You know, we overlook doing things like that, and we overspend.
Right, right. And it's funny because like in nature, there wasn't really this idea of calculating things. It was just more or less based on a process, which, you know, more or less even in geometry and trigonometry, it was all
Hmm.
processes. Even we can even go there with the process of elimination, but that's probably down the road or something if I can even think of something. But but in nature it was all about process versus you know, with the mathematics it was about the calculations, it was about the observation of certain processes.
Hmm.
Physics takes it a step further because it's mathematics in motion, so I understood
Hmm.
physics better than I understood like algebra and calculus. You know, I was
Hmm.
good at geometry, trigonometry, and physics because, like you, I'm good at studying things in motion. And I think like with a certain intellect, motion draws your brain to better understand the world around you, like when it's
Mm,
actually moving versus the way, if you look at society, most of society wants you to sit still versus moving versus, so there's not really a process of humanity, more so a calculation of humanity, find a way
mm,
to put people in these boxes, in these grids, but nature moves, nature flows. There's no box or grid with nature. That's what I did.
mm.
That's what I've noticed.
Well, what I would say is this is that again, people really don't realize that mathematics underpins everything.
Yeah.
Anything you see or can be quantified, or you
Yep.
could figure out a way to quantify it. And the way life is set up is even life itself follows a mathematical pattern. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you're familiar with the Fibonacci sequence, but the Fibonacci sequence is the sequence of growth that plants most notably follow. So,
Mm.
start out with a seed, which is no leaves. Then when the plants start growing, then it's one leaf, then it's two leaves, then the two leaves turn into three leaves, and three leaves turn into five, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But it follows that particular pattern. And
Hmm.
what's embedded in that pattern that
Yeah.
can be found all throughout life is the golden ratio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once
And
you once you get to the 13th division, but that's a whole nother story.
right, and that's why with that thumbnail, it had that golden ratio in there. If you
Mm,
notice that, so this is all about that geometrical and trigonometry aspect of life. Like your life, actually, even for everybody in the chat, those listening to this on the replay, you have to make your life a golden ratio. Now
mm,
there is some things out there in regards to you have some folks like some certain incels type of people who don't believe in the golden ratio, you know.
mm.
But that's another
Uh,
story, I guess. But yeah, a lot of them
what
don't
what
believe
they
in it. But
what they believe is irrelevant, because I could believe it's not dark outside right now, but when I walk out my door, it's no sunshine.
right,
So that about sums it up for belief. You're free to believe whatever you want. It's really about what you could prove.
facts. That's so true. And
Hmm.
it's when you also think about that golden ratio, you see it like and oh yeah, what's good information, man? Good to see you in the building. And I am sweet. She said something pretty cool. She said, right, nature loves spiral patterns that follow the Fibonacci sequence, and golden ratio is found in even fruit vegetables such as pineapples and cauliflower. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
the way you're supposed to meditate, the way you're actually supposed to be intimate with one another, all of that is supposed to be based on the golden ratio. But ooh, that's a deeper rabbit hole.
Hmm. Indeed. Indeed. Another thing about society and numbers is a lot of folks don't realize that. Just take the society we live in, for example. A lot of folks don't realize that this society is run off percentages. So
Yep.
this society already knows X percent of people are going to die from car accidents. X percent of black people are going to get killed this year. X percent of people are going to get cancer. They plan for all of these things. And again, if you willfully ignorant, this is something that you would completely go over your head.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, and that's the thing, a lot of people like certain incel types. They believe like you don't believe in a golden ratio. Like I guess some things are by chance, but like you said, I mean that's just kind of like throwing things up in the air as far as speculation. Because it's like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's by chance that we're breathing right now. It's by chance our heart is beating, you know, and it's like I don't see that as by chance. And even the heartbeat, all that is based on the golden ratio, even like where your heart is located at in your body. Your heart is not directly centered inside of your chest. It's
Mm-hmm.
offset a little bit for a reason, you know.
It's
So,
offset. It's offset to the left. And incidentally, if anybody cares to take a look at any of the ancient the statues from ancient Kemet, you'll notice that the Sutans or any other important people, when they covering their chest, they cover their chest with their left hand, and that's because your heart is on more on your left side than your
yep,
right side. And
yep.
Brown dude said, even by wrong statistics, I take it to mean that he meant, or he's referring to my comment about how society, operate off of uh, percentages or statistics.
Oh yeah,
And I'm not.
they manipulate those statistics. They could do what
Mhm.
they want. You know, like you
Yeah.
said, if they want 5 people to die with car crashes, or that's what they have came up with, they
Hmm.
can increase it to where 10 to 20 people can die by car crashes next year.
Well, that's the nature of that branch of mathematics. Statistics is you could pretty much make it say what the numbers are all true, but you could pretty much make them say whatever you want, depending on how you structure the question that you're asking.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Another thing is, Kimberly Blue. She said something really good, and I want to get on that too. She said the Great Pyramids of Giza were built around the golden ratio long before the Greeks and Parthian. Yeah, and on top of that,
Mm,
they're the way they're located at on the depending on a certain latitude or longitude of the Earth, um, and around the world where all the pyramids are located. I believe they're located on a similar latitude and longitude, and how they project themselves up to certain types of stars, depending
hmm.
on the Orion or Sagittarian belt. But all of this more or less lines up with what they call like the electromagnet shield, electromagnetic shield that goes around the Earth. So this was in essence to be able to communicate like globally more efficiently. Like, and Nikola Tesla was honing in on this information to make it even more of a potential technology to where we're wireless. Like there should be no wires out here. Like connected lamps and light poles. There should be none of that. But you know, the government took a lot of his ideas and
Hmm.
they used it for their benefit to where now we got to be charged for things like electricity and things like that. They figured out a way to mathematically use free energy, because that's what Nikola Tesla was working on, and what he figured out from the pyramids is, oh, this could be a source of free energy.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm familiar with Mr. Tesla. I can't say that, I really know in depth about him, but I'm familiar with him and some of the things that he's credited with doing. About the they call let's see, I believe the word is Merku, but that's that
Yeah,
everybody else calls them pyramids, but that's not actually what the word is. Um,
right.
um, the ones in Giza in particular. Now, all this is just quote unquote speculation. Um, it's quite possible that they are even older than what we have been told. And for that, I can't remember the two mathematicians. It's a male and a female. I have to look them up, but I can't remember the architect. His name is Robert Bauval. I went to school for engineering, and the way those pyramids is laid out is not by happenstance. They
Right.
actually they actually mark the seasons. You can tell what time of day it is by them. Same thing for the Horamacket, or what people call the Sphinx. It's an equatorial marker. It's been there for much longer than what people think. Because if you count the constellations and you go all the way back to the age of Leo, that's like 12,000 years ago. So I just want to mention that about the pyramids. And curiously enough, white folks keep saying that they built them, yet there's absolutely, with the exception of one in somewhere in Italy, there's absolutely no pyramids whatsoever in Europe. So I'm still trying to figure out why white people came all the way to Africa to build pyramids, and they didn't even do it in Europe. So
No,
all that to say that the Greek Parthenon is a cheap knockoff of shit that they learned from black people, and they said so themselves, and white people even wrote it down in history books.
I
So,
agree. I agree.
I mean, while it's wonderful for what it is, I wouldn't even mention it in the same breath.
Wow, that's deep. You brought that up because that could say a lot about society in itself with all this technology and inventions. Everything was from a melanated mind. Every
Mm-hmm.
bit of this, you know. And so, I mean, oh man, this we could go real deep with this. But I think this is more or less surface level. I want to stick with just in regards to I'd say now just with what numbers and different aspects of law, because they learned a lot about law from people, indigenous ancestors from these shores that were melanated, and they learned a lot about numbers from people like over in Timbuktu.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of different things, and like you said, they made it to where uh, they could manipulate a lot of this different knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
but I think also just kind of going off into a different tangent. I think like amongst the honeybees, for example, they have a perfect golden ratio. The women the females outnumber the males, but it's based on a
Mm-hmm.
perfect golden ratio and it's
Mm-hmm.
harmony within that society of honeybees. But in
Mm-hmm.
and at one point humanity was similar, but now things are shifting to where
Mm-hmm.
the golden ratio of, in my opinion, women outnumbering men is starting to kind of be a little bit dismal, you know.
Mm. Well, generally speaking, just speaking on, in terms of birth rates, for every 100 women born or females born, there's 105 males born. And the reason why that happens, this is all nature. This is all by nature. The reason why that happened is because men's lives tend to be shortened or shorter than women's. Um,
Facts.
so, to take that in mind and then extrapolate it to the larger society right now, today, you know, right now, there's a premium on manly, masculine men because most men are not like that. And to compound that, you got men who are unavailable because they're incarcerated. You got men who are unavailable because they don't interact with the opposite gender. You got other men who are unavailable because they still in the trying to pick a gender, et cetera, et cetera. So you're gonna always have, under those circumstances, you're gonna always have a situation where women outnumber men. Heterosexual women outnumber heterosexual men.
Oh yeah, and then it really also brings into light with a lot of the way society has been set up based on the Western idea of marriage as well as monogamy. This really brings down a lot of, like you said, potential masculine men is starting to dwindle. So, like I said, as far as that number of the golden ratio being dismal, like I always felt like women should always outnumber men, but now there's not even enough men. So it's like,
Mm,
woo. So now with what you said earlier about the boys being born versus the girls being born, now I'm just seeing, especially amongst the so-called black people, uh, a lot more girls being born. A lot more
mm,
girls. There's not a lot of boys. And I mean, there should be at least some boys born, but you hardly see boys born. And like you said, the boys that are born, they're not really that masculine. So
mm.
it's just
Well,
dwindling.
it could be a couple different things that I could think of right offhand, that contributes to that. And one is really kind of scary to think about it, but I've seen some comments, whether real or fake, online in different places where women have expressed such hatred towards men that they've actually voiced out loud that if they were pregnant with a male child, that they would abort it. So in that instance, you're gonna have less males being born. And then another reason I could think of right offhand, it will have to do with straight up with genetics, which is not really much you could do about it. Is I don't know if you know anybody personally, but I'm familiar with quite a few guys who have children and they seem to only produce female children, which means they got a lot of X genes in their sperm.
Yeah. And
So,
oh yeah.
just off the top of the head, those would be two reasons why I would tend to think that that was why that was happening. Having more ending up with more, men, women than men, based on your observation.
Facts. Shout out to Ice Turner up in the building. Shout out to Man Cave. Good to see you, brothers, up in the building. For sure. For
Yes,
sure.
salute, Rev, salute, Ice. Blessings and peace to you both.
But yeah, and it makes you think because with a lot of dietary habits, lifestyles, stress, even
Mm,
environments, a lot of people want to be in the cold weather. We made for heat, not the cold.
mm,
But if you're made for the cold, it's because you can adapt to it. But that's not where you are supposed to be living, or you're supposed to be exposed to all the time. So I think a lot of that, to me, especially amongst a lot of guys, and this is just clearly my opinion right now, I think a lot of that
mm,
can also affect if he's going to produce both X and Y chromosomes within him.
mm. Well, I was talking to my physician about this one time, and a suggestion that he gave to me is that guys, if you ejaculate on a regular basis, you will have a tendency to get rid of a lot of those sperm that carry X chromosomes or sex genes,
Yeah, yeah.
and have a more of a likelihood of producing a male child.
Right. That's why I don't get with the no fap movement. They don't realize, to me, that's a beta male movement, this no fap movement, man. I'm like, brother,
Well,
you better flush the pipe out.
yeah. Well, I'll put it to you like this: fapping has its place. I would say if you're going to do it, be doing it during a sexual act with your partner.
I feel
Not
you.
just be doing it by yourself. You understand what I'm saying? If you must do it. Um, but I get enough to where I don't necessarily have to entertain those kind of things. But a lot of guys and me and Mr. IDGAF mindset, we did a drop about this on my podcast about semen retention. And recently I was speaking on it, and I was saying that real semen retention is a tantric sexual discipline, and it's really about uh disciplining yourself and holding or keeping yourself from not orgasming, but ejaculating so that you could prolong having sex with a woman. And what I came to notice is that a lot of guys who practice semen retention, what they are actually doing is in reality is actually celibacy or short-term abstinence. And that is also technically semen retention, but it is not it doesn't necessarily go along with what is laid out in the tantric philosophy.
Right. Because yeah, and I've always felt like semen retention and nofap are two different things. Because like you said, nofap is basically for self, and semen retention is within the act of sex, and you just holding back. Which I
Mm-hmm.
think that's very important. Because most guys, they don't realize their statistical number and what they're doing when they just decide to release. And every single
Mm-hmm.
chick that they get around. And so I know for sure I did a video back in the day, and sometimes I just would purposely go on a lot of these no fap channels, and I would say
Mm-hmm.
try low fap. And
Mm-hmm.
basically that means balance, to where you're not
Mm-hmm.
fapping a lot, but at the same time you're not to the point of where you act like you're not fapping at all, because you don't want to mess up your prostate by just holding all that stuff in. When
Mm-hmm.
eventually you just have ED. At the same time, you don't want to do it so much to where you'll have a problem too with ED, because you just doing it so much, and you just drain, because yeah, that semen has a lot of have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
life in it. So here's that mathematic aspect,
Mm-hmm.
where I think what one ejaculation is equivalent to you running like 20 miles or something like that. That's why you're so tired after
Um,
you release.
yeah, I'm not 100% certain on that
Right.
end of things. I did do some research myself, and what I came to learn is that um, it's very healthy. A guy can have up to every 64 days is this period of spermatogenesis. So in other words, it takes 64 days for your sperm to be born and then mature, so that when you ejaculate in a woman, you have a high likelihood of impregnating her. Well, your body as a male produces about like 5,000 sperm a second. And so it's almost impossible to ever run out of sperm. But
Mm.
the problem with over ejaculation is why you don't ever run out of sperm, they don't ever get to mature. So that is the purpose of retaining your semen, especially during the sex act. And if you choose to be celibate or practice short-term abstinence. So there is a benefit to it. And there's some research being done now as to whether or not prolonged uh, refraining from ejaculation, if it is a contributor to prostate cancer. But as of
Right.
yet, there's no direct evidence of it as of yet. And there's very, very scant evidence that if you ejaculate on a regular basis, it will prevent prostate cancer. And also that because as a man, because your body produces 5,000 sperm per second, you produce in a 64-day period about 8 billion sperm. And on average, per ejaculation, you release anywhere from 20,000 to 3 million sperm. So you could literally ejaculate up to 16 to 20 times in 64 days and still have mature sperm left over without, fucking up your health, as so many semen retention guys, claim.
Right. Um, yeah, that brings up a interesting part of this segment, because You know, we live in a society where I know for me personally, it's definitely about practicing more of semen retention just because, you know, since I do the female woman logic at my channel, um,
Hmm.
I feel like I'm only going to release with a woman, not a typical female. So, given
Hmm.
that the odds are against most melanated men, and a lot of them don't know a lot of the truth that we know,
Hmm.
we see the downfall of a lot of this society, like based on the welfare system and the fact that a guy is releasing in a chick that's in a Section 8 house. You know, there's no chance that you're going to see your child. There's guys that think they're going to have luck overseas impregnating a chick. Statistics are coming out for that too. Um, just don't end up another statistics. There you go. Life of mathematics. Don't end up another statistic. So
Hmm.
and I think there's definitely a difference in regards to the odds against you versus the odds in your favor. Now, maybe you have your own spin on it, but you know, we talk about these odds. You know, obviously, you know, I'm speaking from a algorithm standpoint. You know,
Hmm.
society obviously has everybody set up a certain way, especially now in this pandemic. You know, folk can't really get enough work. Unemployment is not reliable at times. So kind of goes back to the esoteric side of things, you know, beyond the whole idea that you think like it's luck and it's a lottery machine. A lot of times you have to, you know, take a paradigm shift in your upper chakra to kind of
Hmm.
to turn these odds in your favor, even though these odds were against you. And I think that's how you can kind of like with Neo. He what did he do? He saw the algorithm, but he was able to like move it, like manipulate it. He was able to like like he made it what he wanted because he knew that he could change things, just manifest. And so but most people don't get to that point because they're looking on the surface, even though it is
Hmm.
written, walk by faith, not by sight. But people don't see the power in the word faith. You know, they don't see that. They're
Hmm.
basically they walk by the numbers.
Hmm. Well, for me myself, you know, it's been many a time where I said to myself, you know, I have faith, for lack of a better word to describe, you know, what it was that I was experiencing, that, you know, things are going to work out like they supposed to. And it's got a lot to do with the fact that I not only do I have some understanding of how things work, you know, on a surface level, but I understand how things work to some degree behind the scenes. And so I could look and see where things somebody else may look and say, oh, this is a really, really bad situation. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. I could look and see, you know, look through like the OG say, look through muddy waters and see dry land and know that everything is gonna be all right.
Facts, facts, and it's just like what Ice just said about the alchemist, just like an alchemist, just like with the spoon, like when I guess when the little boy was looking at Neo and he had a spoon and he said, don't look at the spoon, you know, like you have
Yeah,
to
don't try to bend it. Don't try to
yeah,
bend the spoon because there is no spoon.
bingo. Yeah,
Yeah, salute to you,
that's
Ice.
key. Yeah, salute to you, Ice. That was major because that's really the answer. You know, if we talk about
Mm,
the mathematics of life, treat mathematics as like the spoon. But most people can't wire their head around that. You know,
mm. Yeah,
everybody's stuck on it.
see it, but not see it. You know, see it, understand that it's there, understand how it works. You know, but you could choose to see it or not. Kind of like how Neo walked through the Matrix. You know, he
Yep,
could see the code, but then he could see the facade too.
yep. And you know, a lot of unfortunately, if you even think about it, like I think with a lot of these females that aren't women, the ones that end up educated, especially the black females. You know, I'm not actually talking about black women. I'm talking about the black females, the ones
Hmm.
that they're now the most educated in the United States, but
Allegedly,
allegedly. But then
they
you look
they
at the
they
numbers.
they more educated amongst black people, but they're
Yeah,
not more educated than white people,
right,
males or females, and they damn sure ain't more educated than Asians.
right, right. And a lot of those chicks end up outclassing themselves because a lot of them don't look at the numbers and realize, well, I got this, but I look at our numbers. A lot of us aren't married. A lot of us don't have children. A lot of us,
Hmm.
based on the numbers, end up stuck in our careers because we're looking at that $85,000 salary. You know,
Hmm.
that
Looking at the
that
wrong,
all gets factored in.
yeah, we looking at the wrong things, man.
Yeah,
Last I heard, 50 or 51% of black men don't have children, and only like 29 or 30% of black women don't have children, something like
right,
that.
right. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
deep.
it is. It's very deep. You know. So there's so much. Ice Turner said also, just like with the problem, there is no problem. It's all simulated and programmed by our feelings. Exactly. Exactly. I
Hmm.
think. Actually, Keanu Reeves says something similar. You know, a lot of this stuff is just. It was already prefabricated, pre-calculated. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
it and a lot of man.
this society is just like the Wiz and the Wizard of Oz. You know, he all powerful, got a lot of bass in his voice until you pull the curtain up and see it's just a small little itty bitty dude.
Yep.
And
Yep.
in regards of black females being the most educated, I say, so what? What has your education done for black people? If the answer is nothing, then your education means nothing. And really, to be perfectly honest, you got your education from the white man. So who are you really impressing with it? And you only have one degree of knowledge out of 360. You don't even know anything.
Facts. That's a good point, Ice. There are more educated in the indoctrination of the Anglo
Hmm.
agenda. So yeah, it's not even an education; it's indoctrination. Yep.
Hmm.
Uh,
Training.
yep. Training. Man Cave said those broads just want a self-esteem boost. Yeah, with that degree, and it's like just a boost. So it's
Hmm.
like you got indoctrinated, so you got boosted from that. You didn't really see
Hmm.
that they stack these numbers against you to lure you
Hmm.
to get you with the welfare, get you with all these things to kind of make it to where it's less likely for an educated man, if you will, of the similar color to make it because there's a chance that a white guy that's a convicted felon can get a better job than a black man with a degree, you
Shit,
know.
just
So,
look, what's your man name? The dude who played Iron Man? Just look
oh
at
yeah,
him. And
yeah,
look at what's your boy name? Prince Prince Marky Mark
yeah,
and the Funky Bunch.
hmm,
He's a fucking convicted felon. Think he got like a murder charge or some shit, or he beat the shit out of somebody, damn near to death. This motherfucker's a movie star. So
mm,
in this racist matrix, man, if you got the complexion for the protection, you go get hit off. They're gonna make sure you good.
woo. That's deep complexion for the protection, and
Yeah.
if you think about it, that's all part of the periodic table because we're all just made of material. You know, we
Oh,
were from the dust, and
that's facts.
so
That's
you know the dark. Yeah, go
it
ahead, go
goes
ahead.
it goes something to wrap your head around and it really fry your brain. Not only are we made of stuff called atoms that's 99% space.
See that matter, that dark matter. You know, and it's you know everything has been tied in with the carbon number 6. So they've tried
Mm-hmm.
to make it devilish 666. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but the carbon represents the darker melon, and so now
Mm-hmm.
there's been a shift in where you know it's about. the brighter melanin. But see, one thing a lot of folk realize is that you still need an element of the darker melanin. So
Hmm.
now it's about changing the ratios to where you can make future civilization mostly mulatto. That's what they're working
Hmm.
on right now. They want to
Oh,
make a mulatto civilization.
that's facts right now. I mean, a lot. I've recommended that people read this book. It's quite verbose, and it was written shit over 100 years ago. But it's called "The Rising Tide of Color Against White World Supremacy," and it was written by T. Lothrop Stoddard. And essentially, what he's saying in that book is essentially what's happening now. The browning of America and really the browning of the whole planet. And if anybody cares to, do their own experiment, just go around and see how many white people you notice that got blonde hair and blue eyes. And when I say blonde hair, I mean blonde to the roots, not that brown or black root shit and then blonde all the rest. I mean a real blonde headed white person. What you'll find is that you're not going to see too many of them. A lot of the white people you see now are brunettes. It's because they mixing with us. Because if they don't, they won't make it the next 100 or 1,000 years because they don't have the genetics to stand up that long. That's why I don't have sex with white women. My motherfucking genes is just too too emperorish. I just can't be giving them away for free, like what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, yeah. I said a woman needs to get her master's in your vision with the concentration in your steps to bring it down into fruition. Facts. And that's part of that golden ratio. It's about,
Hmm.
your masculinity, even with the yin and the yang. Oh man, this is deep. Even with the whole yin and the yang, it's based on the golden ratio because the masculine represents the dominant and the feminine represents the passive. So
Hmm.
that's a golden ratio altogether. So it should
Hmm.
always be this tall tale, if you will, of the massive. I mean, it should always be this theater, this scenario of the masculine with the dominance of the feminine with her with the subjective with the passive, if you will. Like that should be at play every single day. There should be a lot of things about her demeanor of her wanting to learn and wanting to be a part of your vision every single day. That's why it's not really like that complicated, but people make it complicated.
Hmm.
So it's like for the man that understands things like you and I in about the golden ratio, it's just mainly about standing on the masculine principles that you represent,
Hmm.
and that she wants to get in line with that. You know, like
Hmm.
it's really that simple. It really is.
Well, from the way I look at it, like I said, I'm an older guy, and the way that ladies are now, to a degree, are a lot different than they were when I was growing up.
Oh
But
yeah,
all that is what it is, for and it goes as far as it goes. But as a man, what guys should understand about women is that a woman, esoterically speaking, is material. She's stuff. She's something that you use to multiply yourself with. I mean, it's quite evident in the fact that we use women to produce children. We come with our pattern as the man. We put it into the woman, into her material, and give it pattern and make a new person. That's the relationship. Not just sexually, but that's the dynamic, the overall dynamic. And when people get outside of that is when they start having problems, in their relationships with each other. But that's just my point of view.
facts, facts. And I've always felt like a good nickname for microcamerism is microchip. because it's just all a program. It's all a resetting of the algorithm. And the only reason why she's not compatible with you, it's her algorithm's jacked up. She's probably like she needs more than a reboot. She's been infected with a virus, literally. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
is really deep. Ice Turner, he said 6 neutrons, 6 protons, 6 electrons equals 666 man atoms from Adam. Yes, it's no coincidence that his name was Adam. It's no coincidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's no coincidence that the carbon 12 atom got 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and six
mm,
electrons, and it's the most stable and abundant form of carbon throughout the entire universe, and it's the fundamental molecule that your melanin is made out of.
facts, facts. Shout out to Cool Jet. Shout out to you, fam. Shout out to Professor MGTOW. Good to see you up in the building. Salute, salute, salute.
Salute,
Uh,
salute, cool gent. Salute, Professor McTow.
and I don't know. I guess who else up in the building? I think blah, 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 who else? Brown Hornets 1975. I don't know why I can't see you up in the building, but shout out to you as well, Brown Hornet 1975. Yeah, we got a lot of folk in here, man. This is lovely. We
Mm.
appreciate it. I appreciate it for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
salute. Salute to the chat coming out. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. And it's definitely almost like Cortez, he got something cool to say. He said he's honest. I hate when older guys
Mm.
try to say the women back then were the same. Oh yeah, their algorithm has changed.
Mm. Oh,
For
it's
sure.
definitely changed. They, just like Agent Smith, how he was running around in the Matrix, copying himself. That's basically the same thing that society does with its programming. It inserted it in people just like Agent Smith. It
Yep,
copies itself into you, and then it gets you to do, to uphold
yep,
it. You got to be willfully ignorant. So you got to
yep.
accept that programming.
Yep, it's part of that brainwashing was part of that algorithm. They know that some people are more susceptible than other people. So part of that whole statistic, based on the way one upbringing is, based on how they were born in this grid that was made, which was based on Rome. See, Rome set up the blueprint for the new Rome, which is the United States, in my opinion. Uh,
Mhm.
Let me
And
see, man cave.
they got their blueprint from Greece, and Greece got their blueprint from Kemet.
Yeah, see, exactly. It goes way back. And I think even in South America, they also had a certain grid city. If I'm not mistaken, they had that up and down, like with the Aztecs, Incas, and Mayans. Like a lot of them had a similar setup. A lot of people just ain't peeping. Let me see some right quick. Man Cave, you asked me off topic, but how often you been making content? Man, hey, be honest with you, fam. I just started last year, given the date of this live stream. I started making content 2019, but I've had this account up since 2011. So I've been out there, but I just hadn't made content until last year. So yeah, I've only been like a year in this, man. Real talk.
Mhm.
Uh, let's see this. Ice Turner, he said, carbon 12 equals 12 tribes of Israel equals 12 disciples. Yes, indeed. Then you also
That's
said
right.
12 mental faculties of man. Yep. And then
Not
you
only
also
that,
said,
not only that, but you got the 12 hours of the day 2 times, and you got the 12 major nerves that come up out your spinal cord, which got 33 vertebrae in it, by the way.
yep, yep. And then
So,
oftentimes we relate to the police officers as 12. And so we
mm,
are of the melanated six. So the 12 always trying to go after the six. Now you might have
mm,
to go back after the 12 with a 12 gauge, but that's another story. I'll leave that to your discretion. But let's see, Ice Turner said Asia Smith represents our lower self perspective and concept of how we see ourselves in the world. Yep. Oh yeah.
mm. Yeah, Agent Smith. If you go outside and on a sunny day and you turn around and you look at the shadow that you cast, that's who your Agent Smith is.
Mm-hmm.
Your shadow self.
Yeah, it definitely represents your lower self. Yeah, and it was just cool how Neo, he was a different, what was his name in the Matrix before he was known as Neo though? But he was always
Oh,
the
Mr.
one.
Anderson.
Yeah, he was Mr. Anderson. But he was always destined to be the one though. That's what made him different.
Mm,
He was destined, you know. So it's like there's certain things about your life that is beyond numbers. Like we talk about finding the right one. Hey, what's good, DJ Moss? Good to see you again, fam. Uh, you know, we talk about finding the right one. You know, a lot of people don't really know what they mean when they mean find the right one, like based on
mm,
the numbers of society. You know,
mm,
we don't really get it. And I think more or less being the one is of divine. You know, it's
mm,
a divine thing. I think uh, I know for me for sure. Like when I go through life, I just look at the numbers. You know what I'm saying
mm,
in regards to not trying to end up a statistic. You kind of want to be like that. You know that infinity shape, like a figure eight. You know,
mm,
you kind of want to be
mm,
like that, and I think it kind of goes in line with Hawk, not Hawk Hogan, but Macho Man Randy Savage made the
mm,
statement, and I talked about this at ISIS live stream the other day, and it was about Macho Man Randy Savage said the statement of nothing means nothing, you know,
mm.
and so that's really like an infinity because it's like you could
Mm.
make something out of nothing, but
Oh,
nothing,
damn! I'm glad you
yeah,
just read my mind because me and Ice had a conversation similar to that. Um, a lot of people. It, it's a very good book. I can't remember the dude's last damn name. His first name is Neil something, but the book is called Crazy Talk, Stupid Talk. People in general, when we, and I'm guilty of it too, just not like them. Um, when we talk, we have a tendency to say things that are not entirely accurate to what we actually thinking. And
right,
people don't realize how detrimental that is when you're having a conversation with somebody else and when you're trying to explain something to somebody else. So then
man.
I lost my train of thought. My bad.
Oh, you'll get it.
I'm a remember it. But go
Yeah,
ahead, bro.
you good. Your mind went into an infinite stage. It started to move at a rapid speed. The neurons, it'll come back to you. Uh, let's see. Wesley McCoy. Yeah. Hey, good to see you up in the building at one of my live stream for the first time. I know you've checked out some of my videos. So, yeah, you said I'm going to have to watch The Matrix again and take some notes. Sometimes you need a refresher. Yeah, you got to constantly watch it. You got to, because it's like a lot of what has been said, a lot of it actually does come from a lot of different biblical, spiritual texts. It's like it's really deep. Like when I really like a lot of sci-fi movies. I love watching
Mm.
sci-fi, not just like Matrix. I watch, man, I watch a lot of sci-fi movies because I be peeping like all the different messages and stuff. Like nothing gets me
Mm.
like a good sci-fi movie.
I do too, and I remember what I was going to say or what I was leading into. Anyway, a lot of people don't use words correctly, and we have a habit of talking very stupidly and very ignorantly. So this is just to touch on what you were saying about how people say they're looking for the one. But if you look at the movie The Matrix, Neo wasn't, he was looking for the one, but the one was him. It wasn't somebody else.
Right, right,
You understand
right.
what I'm saying? That's what that's the thought that I was trying to get out that I got stuck in getting out.
Exactly. I mean, and that's part of that infinity. You know, kind of like because I remember one day, my granddad he had recommended I move up to South Dakota for a few years, and of course I was
Mm,
kind of learning a little bit about my Native American side. So I thought, you know, I could find out more about Native American, but I really found out more about myself when I went up there.
Mm.
So I'd say true destiny, true fate, despite the numbers, it finds you. It's not something you had to figure out. And I think that's part of what I'm getting at with the mathematics that people do in life. People spend too much time in life trying to figure things out. You
Mm.
know,
Mm.
people are not meditating. They're not at peace with themselves, so they're constantly trying to figure everything out, and they wonder why their life is so jacked up. And
Mm.
so it's yeah, Ice Turner said this: 144,000 mental light rays, 144,000 chosen ones of Israel. And yeah, that's interesting because I had some people that
Listen, that's
they
12
oh go ahead.
again. That's
Yeah,
12 again.
yeah. Oh yeah. Some people don't believe in that number. I think there's a relevance of the number because some people like, well, that came from the New Testament. You know what? I actually see truth in that number, just giving the way history has gone, and just given that a lot of people are not going to know the real truth. They're not going to know
Mm.
that you have to think beyond, like to me, like logic is not like this. To me, logic is simply common sense, but it's deeper than that. It's not really like a calculation. It's
Mm.
really a understanding, you know.
It really come down to a choice based on, what happened previously, basically. I mean, logic is really,
Woo.
really, really, really simple. And incidentally, it's how the law works. It either is or is not. It's no in
Yeah,
between. So,
yeah,
the way logic work is your light is either on or off. There's no in between. Not even with a dimmer, because even with a dimmer, it might not be on fully, but it's still on.
exactly. And that brings up also, like, to me, like, we say the word deja vu a lot. We say that a lot. However,
Mm,
to me, that's part of the universe. That's part
mm,
of certain things, that part of that previous aspect, like you mentioned. Um, I can't describe it. There's a lot more that could be said about deja vu, but a
mm,
lot of things that I've noticed upon a deja vu moment, where a lot of things happened that I didn't expect. You know, certain things that ended up happening in my life, certain blessings, like a lot of things that would defy what society would expect for you to have to deal with. Um,
mm.
so a lot of parallel universes, past lives, the next life. A lot of that kind of gets into like that deja vu moment for me for some weird reason.
Mm. Well, the way I always thought about the concept of deja vu is because I subscribe to karma. And a lot of people erroneously think that karma means what goes around comes around. So if you hit somebody, that means somebody's going to hit you. That's not exactly how karma works. It's more like, what is your cosmic assignment? What the fuck are you here in this life to do? And when you have incidents of deja vu, I would say that those were flashbacks of previous lives or previous moments of previous lives.
Yes,
So
yes,
so you
yes.
get the sense, hey, I've been here before. And I don't mean it's a different, like level or experience when you actually been somewhere and you forgot you've been there, and then you go back, then you actually having almost, what could be compared to like an out of body experience type of deja vu, where like you never been to this place before, but you've been to this place before. You understand what I'm saying? That's how I think of
Right.
deja vu in those terms. Not that it's a coincidence, or you know another way that I think of it too is not unlike we seen, for example, in the Matrix, when they seen the black cat, uh, uh, scene repeat itself. The only time I see deja vu in that regards is when I look at the shit that's going on in society. So just take this recent election, for example. It was a deja vu moment for me to an extent, in that it reminded me of previous moments where the same situation happened. Most notably, just when Trump ran against Hillary and when Gore ran against Bush. So,
Yeah.
that the
Oh
same
yeah.
seemed like it seemed like it was, the system seemed like it was repeating itself, or was having a deja vu moment.
Yeah, I mean, history definitely repeats itself. Nothing is new under the sun. Nothing can be created or destroyed. So that's why I don't even believe in death. I really don't. You
Mm,
just come back. You keep
mm,
living and you keep living. Like, let's see, Ice Turner. He said, "Learning in reverse." Back to the original idea that masculine principle, way feminine principle taught you before you left the black dot. Christos equals God. You, yeah. That's deep. Ice Turner, and it's cool. Like, cause yeah, we bring up, cause I know for sure I be like it's real deep. Cause now I like when I see the feminine, I be trying like I see it differently, like in regards to like masculine principles. Like I say, masculine principles. Like with the feminine, I'll be like feminine dynamics because I'll be like
mm,
she can't have a principle. She's dynamic. You have to put principles on her dynamics. She's like it's like you the
mm.
pilot, but she's the airplane. You have to make sure she flies right. You got to make sure
Yeah,
she's maneuvering. So
you have to
you know,
you have to give her material pattern in order for it to
yes,
take shape and be anything.
yes,
Same
yes,
same
yes.
same same way pimps give hoes instructions. Same thing.
Hmm. And that's another deep one you brought up. Ice, from dogs to gods, learning in reverse. But see, the reverse is happening to those with the six carbon. You see them
Mm,
becoming more like dogs. We see it
mm,
every day. So, what was the origin? If now you see folks acting like dogs, what was their life before then? They were gods before then. But see, that's why folks are treated like dogs now, being shot down like dogs now. The men are being treated like dogs. They're being called dogs, literally. I mean,
mm.
oh, hey, what's good, Essel Stoic? What's good, fam?
And salute Esso Star.
Yeah, I think Brown Dude said this to you. Yeah, you mean Biden?
Oh yeah, if I misstated that, then yeah, Biden versus Trump, and then Trump versus Hillary the last go around, and then Bush versus Gore back in 2000 and what, 2001, 2002, some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the closer you're melon, the closer you are to that God state. So brown is definitely close to darker shades. So hey, anybody that's closer to that darker shade, you get closer to that God state, and that's why, like you said, some of the white want to have darker genes in the future. And like you said,
Mm-hmm.
you got to hold that back. They want that God state. Like I think of Blake Griffin, see his mom, see his father. But see, like his mom, she's actually a true born redhead. She actually was descended from Melon, but I forget there was a history with Irish people. That's another story. But
Mm-hmm.
you see like the byproduct of that in someone like Blake Griffin. Like it's like to me like a full circle of the genetics right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people want to happen. Like we think of all these kids that get kidnapped. Where do they go? They're trying to resupply the numbers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody talks about that. All these kids they end up missing. And of
Yeah,
course it's very
that's
sad.
just just from my analysis and my studies, that's just a function of the system of racism. White supremacy, white terrorism, white power, whatever you want to call it. It all adds up to be the same thing at the end of the day. But I mean, if you look at their entire history, since they've been in charge, let's say from 1492 till now. Not only do white folks have a history of pedophilia, but their entire system is predicated on preying on children. Because when they took slaves from Africa, they took mostly children. They didn't take mostly adults.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most
So
definitely.
so so when you ask, where are all these children going? I mean, I'm sure you familiar with these pedophilia allegations.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
yeah,
you heard of people like, Miss what's his name? Woody Harrelson, is that his name? Not him? The director.
yeah, yeah. That's his name.
Yeah, yeah. The one who married his Asian adopted granddaughter. So, I mean, that's part and parcel of their system. That's how they get down. So if you want to know where all these kids is going, ask the white folks. Ask your white friend.
Then, talk about population control. That's all part of that
Mm,
life of mathematics, right there. Uh,
mm-hmm,
hold up, Brown Do Life said, Epstein, Maxwell. Oh,
mm-hmm.
those two
Yeah,
last names. Yeah.
mm-hmm. They would be counted among, the many, all those in Hollywood who get down. So, like I said, the way this society is set up, man, is run off percentages. They know that they could get away with stealing 13% of the children annually, and nobody's going to do shit.
Facts, facts, facts. I mean, and meanwhile, I mean, they a lot of them they're looking at things. I won't even say from an eagle's eye view. They're looking at it from a grid's eye view. Everything is set up as a grid. You're flying in the sky about 50,000 feet in the air. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I look down, I can see the numbers, and it's kind of shocking. It's kind of frightening to a certain extent because you can really see that folk don't really realize how much they're in the matrix. And I call it artificial societies at this channel, but that's just to further describe what the matrix really is. It's based on
Mm,
these artificial numbers, these equations, Einstein type of equations
mm,
that they can put together to have plus this minus this equal that. Some
mm,
people are the sum of their parts, or their equations, or their fractions. That's
mm,
another story. You brought up percentages, but also fractions. So a lot of people don't really get all this stuff though.
mm. Yeah, man. I mean, I pretty much keep to myself. I know a lot of people. A lot of people know me, but for the most part, I'm a loner, and it's got a lot to do with the fact that I understand the things that I do, and I can see the things that I can see. And really, I don't see how anybody could walk around, not in America, not be a black person, and not be upset. You know what I'm saying? Be angry about what the fuck is going on. Cause I mean, they playing with your life.
Yep.
And at,
Yep.
at any time, when you walk out your door, you could lose it.
Yep.
And
And they
yet you got motherfuckers and they want the latest Jordans and a certified pre-owned, be a certified pre-owned.
yep.
Get the words pre-owned, certified BMW and 75-inch screen TV, and I mean, none of those things are bad in and of themselves, but it's more important shit going on, than that nonsense. Black people are very serious about not being very serious, man.
Yeah, it's like folk will count numbers, but the key is making your numbers count. That's what's key. And I think that's what Neo figured out. Okay, I see this number. I'm gonna make it count.
Mm.
I'm gonna
Shit,
change this number around.
shit. But black people, we don't give a fuck about our future. I mean, just look at the abortion rate for black women. No shade, because it is what it is. I didn't do it. If black people cared about the future, black women wouldn't have so many abortions. Black men wouldn't be out here shooting other black men like they do. I mean, it is what it is. Got to be honest about the shit, yo.
Oh
Can't
yeah,
fix
I
it.
agree.
Can't fix it until you tell the truth about it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. There's this saying like in Chicago around the fall is their football season. When they go out there and they hit the gridiron, if you will. Like they talk like that in Chicago. They got their football season out of Chirac type of football season, and they be literally doing mathematics there too. We're gonna see how many
Mm-hmm.
bodies we gonna drop in the next few weeks. They literally put
Mm-hmm.
numbers up. Dudes be talking about, man, we gonna put up the numbers, yo. No, we finna put up the numbers. How many numbers you gonna get? And they literally go
Mm-hmm.
out there and they try to put out numbers. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah, I've been to Chicago quite a few times in my lifetime. And what a lot of people have, black people anyway, have a tendency not to do is they don't do any investigation into the places that they live at. Like I live right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. A lot of people don't do the racist history of where they live at. So there's a reason why Chicago is like it is. And it didn't just start with black people. There's a reason why New Orleans is the way it is. It didn't just start with black people.
Right, right.
You understand what I'm saying? These things been going
Yeah.
on for when black people were slaves and even before then.
Oh yeah, and all them places where most of the violence is, those were originally gangster towns. A lot of them
Mm,
were.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, so it's like it just kind of feed off of that. Yeah, that's pretty much what we see. I mean, St. Louis the same way, because back in the days, that's kind of where it was the gateway to the West. You know,
Mm,
uh, and I'm originally from St. Louis, so it was one of the main slave towns where they, so if y'all want to know where the modern day car auction came from, it came from out of Missouri, out of St. Louis, where you had the auction near. Put the slave up there, and the way y'all heard them talk about, hey, the 55, 55, 55, same thing back in the days. You got a Negro 155 pounds, 25 pounds, 155, 75, 255 pounds, same thing. That's where they get
mm.
that from. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
this shit.
So,
I done been out that way before. I done been all over the country. And I'm gonna tell you something. Them white folks out there in Missouri, because that's how the motherfuckers say it. They just as bad as white folks you find in the deep south. Don't sleep.
oh,
But
trust me, I know. I'm born and raised. I know. Trust me. Yes, sir.
yeah, it's a lot of things that as a group of people we just don't like to be honest about, man. We don't want to have conversations about, because the reality of the situation is motherfuckers don't want to buck against the system because it's too much work. It's too much responsibility. Motherfuckers talk a good game, but it's a lot more work, you know, that come with that talking. Black power mean you got to run your own country, yo. How you gonna provide water? How you gonna feed your people? How you gonna protect them?
How you gonna heal them if they get sick or get hurt?
That too, So niggas talk good, sound real good, but the reality of the situation is we live in a certain context, man. You could go buy a house that somebody else already built. Well, you could build one with the materials that somebody else already provided. Until you could do them things for yourself, you're not free. You go be in this matrix.
Facts. And some guys think like just because you talk about women, it's a relationship. No, sometimes guys talk from the standpoint of nation building. Like, but people don't see the
Mm-hmm.
difference. Like, what are different things that you would have for ladies in the midst of a nation? like that are
Mm-hmm.
set up for them, like some type of Medicare and things like that, or places where abortion can be prevented. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that setup. So there's you know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we
I've
won't even, man.
Yeah, I've remarked on that before too. And I mostly speak to guys. I usually talk to ladies in private. They really don't like to be out in public with their shit unless they're anonymous. But I've said that to guys too, in regards to women. Because I hear a lot of guys say that women should be like this or women should be like that. Which tells me that they really don't know nothing about women to begin with. But I explained to these guys that if you want a certain kind of woman, you have to make her. She just don't come out the pussy like that. You have to you have to acculturate her in a particular way. And the best and most effective way of doing that is being in control of her environment. Same way like America. The reason why these women are feminists is because they follow the top women, which is white women. They lead the charge. And so every other group of women follow. Well, that
Yep.
happens in a particular context. And so if guys want certain particular types of women who are going to behave towards them in a particular kind of way, they have to produce them. And in order to produce them, you have to have the means of manufacture. Or in this case, you have to control the environment that they're produced in. Anything short of that, you preaching to the choir. You're really wasting your breath. You might well just, stand in line and enjoy the ride when it's your turn.
I agree, man, and that's why I started off at my channel. I started off this idea of conceptualizing things like a prototype woman, and from a prototype, what would she become? So there was this idea of her being a twilight, upon her being a reflection of a man's light. So it was just all this, but yeah, you don't hear guys talking like that. It's still a relationship issue. I'm like, come on, bro, you're
Mm-hmm.
not thinking you're not thinking macro. You're thinking very micro right now. One thing I wanted to say right quick though, John Appleseed, he said Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. is a compensatory counter-racist code. Oh yeah. I feel you on that. I feel you. First time here, I believe I haven't seen you before, so good to see you up in the building, fam. But going back to what we were saying, and then you can do your closing thoughts because we want to try to wrap it up here. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking the white woman was also brainwashed too, and she just passed it down. It's a trickle down effect. A lot of them don't know they've been brainwashed as well. They've been programmed. So, like you said, she can be either acculturated or programmed by those
Mm-hmm.
numbers. Which one?
Well, the way I look at it is, man and woman together, is like the dynamic duo, like Batman and Robin. You understand what I'm saying? And white men could not be doing what they're doing on this planet without assistance, and their assistant is the white woman. And I think that as black people, as black men in particular, we have a tendency to underestimate white women's role in white power. We think we have a tendency to relegate it to just like in the bedroom, but all you got to do is go look at any public school and see the percentage of white teachers who, teaching in all likelihood terrorize your little black children to know that, her role is not relegated to just the bedroom. All that to say, she's not her programming is I'm playing for the white team and we trying to win. So what all she's going to do is going to benefit, what I'm saying, her team. So all that to say, if she is programmed, then she gonna be programmed in a slightly different fashion than any other group of women in this country.
Oh yeah. With that said, yeah, and you got those rogue type of white women who weren't able to be fully indoctrinated or programmed, and they end up the ones that are like by themselves, but they kind of have their own little message, you know, more of a liberal message. That's
Right.
another ball game. But yeah, man, it's been a good chopping it up with you, fam. I think this is kind of a good opening door to a newer sector realm of just a lot of different thought patterns, man. It's been good having you to stop by tonight for sure, man.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. And I look forward to you inviting me back anytime, man.
Oh, for sure. And you could drop down whenever you want. I'm gonna just be doing my little closing statements, or just stick around, and I'll be probably into this live stream here in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, everybody, those who are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel. For everybody else, you know, I'm not gonna do my little normal closing statement, but feel free to still put some comments in the chat, and I'll definitely get to that as I close out. But yeah, if you're new to this channel, subscribe to this channel. If you haven't yet, go over to Incredible Top's channel. What's the just to repeat, what's the name of your channel again on YouTube or whatever other platforms?
I am the Incredible T.O.P, aka Top Chakra. You can find me on Instagram at the Incredible T.O.P. You can find me here on YouTube at the Topcast on YouTube. And I'm also the host of the Topcast on Anchor Podcast. Season 1 is almost over. Season 1 on YouTube is starting in January.
Awesome, y'all. So there y'all go. Y'all heard the information. You need to hear it again. Play this on the replay. Yeah, we could possibly do a part 2. We'll see how things go. I am sweet. You know, we just try to formulate things and let it be like a nuclear reaction. For sure.
Do some supreme mathematics.
Exactly. You know, kind of the counter calculation we trying to do right now. So but yeah, make sure y'all hit the like button, even those listening to this on the replay. Hit that notification bell so that you get all of my uploads in real time. Go in the about section, reach me via email, check out my other playlist as you wait on my other newer content. You know, and yeah, you want to tip me, that's also in the about section. And we out of here, y'all, and we gonna see y'all again on the next one. Until next time, signing out. Much love to y'all.
Peace.